Welcome to Freedom Cast, where your hosts, Jordan and Miranda, show you how to get just a little bit more out of life. Are you ready to leave normal behind?
All right. Hello, Freedom Casters, and welcome to this podcast episode. We have a very special guest today, Bri, who I met from work. She unfortunately left me, though, and that's why we actually have her on the podcast. Because, she moved to Virginia, got a new job, new apartment, all sorts of fun things. So that's why when we were doing this series on change, I immediately thought of Bri because she just recently did all sorts of changes in her life. And I feel like that's your personality too, Bri. I feel like since I've known you, it's just been a lot of up and down.
That seems about right.
So I also thought it was really funny because when we worked together for, what was it, like 8 months? Yeah. And funnily enough, like I would bring a peanut butter sandwich to work every single day, and Bri would make fun of me every day for that.
8 months of peanut butter sandwiches.
Every single day.
Occasionally a banana peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, but thanks to the Whole30, my lunch is different now. But I just thought that was funny since we're talking about change. And
literally the week I
was like the poster child for like.
Yeah, but yeah, you didn't start doing that until Bri wasn't there anymore. Like Bri left, right?
Week,
and then you were like,
after I left,
it was like,
that's the important part.
Yeah. I was so depressed that the peanut butter just wasn't
the same,
fulfilling me anymore. Yeah, I couldn't. The peanut butter made me think of you, I guess.
You switched to salads.
So I switched to salads and just started new.
There you go.
Yeah, but just to start, if you wanted to just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, about how much you love me and miss me, just that sort of thing.
All right. Well, I'm a recent college graduate as well, so add that to my change in the past year. So recent college.
I think you are probably our youngest guest, actually, Bri.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think that's true.
Probably.
I don't know.
I think so.
Oh, I feel so honored now.
Yeah, you should feel.
You get like a badge or something.
I expect that in the mail.
Make a badge for
I
you.
expect it in the mail.
I don't think she's kidding. No. Get on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I'm sorry.
You're good. So yeah, I love focusing on agriculture, which is why I worked with Miranda for 8 months in the greenhouse. I now work at a nonprofit called Local Food Hub with their food access programming. So it's kind of a dream job for one of my first few jobs I've had. I recently got a dog as well, Miss Jasmine, who has been a mess.
Yes. She's a very special dog.
So special. But yeah, what else would you like to know?
Just everything, bare your soul.
Life story.
Yeah, from the very beginning. But yeah, we just wanted you on here because it's pretty cool what you did. You moved, by yourself, and now you have Jazzy, obviously. But that's a really big move to do on your own, and we just think that's really bold of you. So, we just kind of want to hear what made you decide that this is, the change you wanted, and how did you know that you were, it's time for a change and I want to move somewhere new? What was your thought process through that whole thing?
I guess my thought process was I kind of knew that Metro Atlanta wasn't going to be my final destination. And so I wanted to keep exploring job options and figure out what I wanted to maybe focus on in my life. And so that took a lot of just applying to different jobs. And originally I was focusing on staying in North Carolina, maybe around Charlotte area. But then it got to the point where I just wasn't quite happy with where I was at the time. And so I opened up my search to sort of everywhere. I like across the country basically. And then, I guess like another driving thing is family's like really big for me, but my family all moved away from me. My brother's still in Charlotte, but
that's another change. Your family moved from North Carolina to Texas, so
yep.
it's
So
a big
yeah,
thing.
my parents moved about a month after I graduated from college to Texas, and then my brother and his fiance, once they finish up schooling, will probably be moving out of North Carolina as well. So I was sort of in a position where I didn't have a bunch of ties, and I like to experience new things. I am a very anxious person, so the whole just picking up and moving was a big okay. But as I was talking to one of my friends a couple weeks ago, I was like, it's been a whirlwind of change, but it's all been good change, and it's kind of awesome to get it all out of the way at once. And I'm sure in a few months I'll be doing a very similar thing to what I did a couple months ago, but it's been a crazy journey. But now that things are finally starting to settle down, it's been pretty awesome getting to know the area, getting to know new people, putting myself out there more.
Yeah.
It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's worth mentioning too that because your family moved away, you were kind of house hopping for the entire time you were working with me. And you all of your stuff was in storage or somehow ended up with your parents and you were just kind of homeless for a while there. So how does it feel to have an apartment and to be like in one spot with your stuff?
It's been so nice. I still don't have all my stuff yet. My parents still have some of it.
Of course.
But it's been so nice just to be able to come back to the same place every week and not feeling, I mean, everyone I lived with was super generous, super kind, more than welcome to let me stay with them. But it's been nice not to feel like you're stepping on someone's personal space. Like I have my own space. My dog can run amok in my own apartment, which she does. But like, it's just really nice to have that place to just come home to and not feel like you're always trying to impress someone or trying to like not just be yourself.
Yeah, because it does feel that way. Unless it's your place, like you feel like you can't really be as weird or get as comfortable. Because I know Jordan and I are so clumsy. We just are always like, if we go into like a home that's nice, we're always so scared of like spilling things and like.
Oh yeah, the first time I went back and like was working on production at the church, I spilled my coffee twice when I was in the back with you.
Yeah.
Last Thursday, like twice within the first like 10 minutes of being in a new place, I just spilled it all over myself. What am I doing?
It's like I cannot take you anywhere.
No, we are way too clumsy for anything nice.
No one ever invite us to stay to your home.
No, we will break something pretty much every time.
It's fine. My dog's already broken everything
pretty
anyway,
ridiculous.
so it's fine. You can't do worse than her.
Yeah. So, because like you said, you've really had to put yourself out there. What kind of methods have you used to, meet new people in a city where you have, you don't know anybody and you're, it's always a little scary when you're by yourself. So, I'm sure the dog probably is nice to have. I don't think she's much of a guard dog, but still.
Yeah. So I also learned whenever different methods, I've used like different apps for meeting friends for like meetup. I've gone out with some of my coworkers, joined 2 various small groups that are a wide range of ages and everything. So it's a lot of fun just to get to know different people at different stages of life and just get to meet people, I guess. But I also learned that I'm usually a person who I'd rather stay home than go out every night of the week. But I learned well, I can't meet new people if I'm just always in my apartment doing nothing. So I just started saying yes to as many things as I could.
Yep.
And some of them I'm kind of like, some of the time it's kind of skeptical about if it's going to be fun or not. But I mean, at least I put myself out there and sort of was just like, yeah, I'll come. And then I don't have to see him again. But at least I went and I tried, which is a really, really big thing for me because I'm usually very shy and I'm usually don't want to go places where I don't know anyone because I don't know how to react. I'm like, I don't have that one person I can walk to and just stay by the whole time. It's weird meeting all new people, but I mean, it's been worked out so far. So I haven't been kidnapped yet. That's a positive, as I tell my mom.
That's very good.
That's always a good thing.
Like, I'm pretty sure Miranda's worried about every time I say I've done anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am a little concerned about you, but it's okay. But I think that's really cool, just that because I'm more of an introvert too, and if you don't intentionally say, okay, I'm just going to say yes to everything, or I'm going to have to like really work to meet new people, it's so easy to fall into that trap of just, I'm just going to lay here on the couch and like eat my ice cream. I'm so totally easy. Content. Like, doesn't matter. So it is really cool that you've been able to, because you haven't even been up there that long and you're already making connections, you're part of groups. And I think that's really cool that you just jumped on it right away. You didn't waste any time. You're like, I'm getting a dog, I'm making friends, here we go.
It's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, why not? But so what has been the most rewarding part so far of your move and your job change and getting a dog and meeting new people? What has been just the most rewarding part so far?
I guess I'd have to say the most rewarding part so far is I feel like I'm getting to know myself a little better. I'm not with family and friends or anything where it's like there's predispositions about like, I guess sort of who I am or how I act and everything. So it's kind of like I can redefine myself. And it's been exciting to sort of get to know like the adult me, I guess, the one who's on her own, who is like making these new friends, being more outgoing. Just, I don't know, it's been like a really cool experience just to sort of not reinvent myself. I'm still like crazy, goofy, and like super uncoordinated and legs bruised everywhere, but
which we're gonna come back to that.
But I mean, part. It's just cool to get to, I guess, refine myself almost as like an adult, not as a college student or as a kid who's living at home and everything like that. So it's been really rewarding in that sense.
Yeah, and we find that especially with family, because whenever we go to see Jordan's family, it's just funny because sometimes it feels like they still view Jordan as like a little kid, little 8-year-old.
I'm the younger brother. I'm the fourth out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just picture him with like fries and ketchup awesome. And yeah, so it's just funny how your family, you do kind of get a role in your family and it's hard to break out of that. So when you are on your own, you're redefining yourself. You can try new things and people aren't going to be like, that's not you, Bri. You don't do that. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that's very cool. I just wanted to bring up with the uncoordinated, I wanted you to tell, you can choose. You can either tell the gray bin story or you can tell the water pipe story. It's your choice. That wasn't your fault, but it was still, it kind of shows you have a proclivity towards ridiculous and crazy things. So
so my life is like built on ridiculously crazy events that happen in my life. I guess if we're going with the craziest one that happened to me at Metron, we'll go with the gray bin story. So we were on like day 4 or 5 of dumping poinsettia plants that were just absolutely dead or weren't shipped or something. And so we had like very full, like the gray bins that we used to dump all of like the compostable and like don't know, like organic material, I think it is. And so I was pushing one of the grape bins, and they're really old. And in my opinion, the wheel just turned and it like got stuck and it started moving into one of the bays, which are probably, just say like 6 inches down from like the walkways.
Yeah.
And so it's like this grape bin full of who knows how many pounds of dirt and plants and everything. And I like jump in the way of it and try and like push it back onto the sidewalk. But my foot slips on like an algae covered patch of concrete in the bay. And then I'm like trying to like push it, but like I'm slid and fell. And like it finally falls, and it like barely missed me by falling on top of me, but like it fell into the bay, and like I fell onto the floor and had a huge bruise on my hip for like a week, and like on my elbow and stuff. But my favorite part of the story is Miranda watching from 2 bays over, and she goes, "Let me know if you need any help." And I go, "I think I need some help." And as the grape bin's falling, she just goes, "Let me know if you need help." As I'm like trying to.
You didn't run over and help her?
She just sat there.
It all happened too fast.
And then started laughing at me.
Well,
that sounds right too.
I was really concerned though in the middle, because I was like, why is she trying to catch this? Like, I don't know how much these things weigh, but like, if it's falling, like, just let it fall. Why are you trying to catch it? I thought you were going to get crushed beneath this thing. And it's like, what is happening? But that pretty much sums
My
up,
life. Yeah.
you know, your life right there. So that's just good for all the listeners to
glad.
know. I know everybody wanted to hear that story, so.
The moral of the story for Miranda is next time help her with the gray bins.
That's like not the only time she like either didn't help or she hurt me in the process of helping. I got hit in the face with like a pole or something.
Yeah, it's better for me not to help, because when I tried to help, it just turned like into making matters worse.
Oh no.
Yes, something happened. So
I don't understand your guys' job at all. With all these stories, like, I don't understand what you're doing ever. Like, I just don't get it.
It is pretty weird. It doesn't translate.
There's always like a new thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. But I'm starting to think maybe you left because of me, but I don't know. Maybe.
She didn't say no.
She didn't say no.
I mean, you never know. No. You're probably a big reason as to why I made it as long as I did.
Well, that's good to know. So jumping back to actually what, you know, what has been the hardest part about changing jobs and moving to a different state and, you know, transplanting yourself completely?
I guess the hardest part is, I mean, it made it easy, but hard at the same time, is not having the support system and the family and the friends that I did have back in North Carolina. I mean, everyone's there and everyone's like a phone call away and everything, but it's hard not to have that person where it's like, if you're having a bad day, you can just go over to their apartment. Or like when I had like some really hard weekends, like you guys let me just come over and crash on the couch, or my brother would let me just come down and crash on his couch, or just grab a beer after work. And it's been hard to, I guess, rebuild a support system up here, because I mean, like, going from not knowing everyone and having different things in your life happen, that it takes a while to build that support system. I guess that's been the hardest part. It's just like, now it's getting better and easier, but I guess that for me was the hardest part, because I always like to have people who care about me and that I care about, like, surrounding me and everything. So completely uprooting my life and moving and not having that was pretty difficult for a period of time, for sure.
Yeah, because sometimes there's nothing quite like actually just like seeing a person. Like a phone call is great. I mean, text messages can be nice, but it's like if you are having a really tough day, sometimes you do just need that like person, that go to, like, hey, I need you right now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that part of change I think can be really hard because when Miranda and I first moved down south, yeah, we didn't have anyone but each other. And not having that community, not having that support system it's tough at first. It's hard to build it from nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest things about change. I think that's why people can be so afraid of change because of that, because they know it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
But once you get past that struggle, I think it can be fun too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then you meet new people, and then they become those important people in your life. Like, how did I live without that person for so long? So it's pretty cool. So like you said, Bri, you said you have more of an anxious personality. Do you have any like tricks or helpful hints for people that maybe want to change but feel, just very scared or feel like they can't overcome that fear? And how did you personally overcome that and say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go, somewhere totally new by myself and, just take this adventure?
So I'm a huge overthinker. Like I overthink everything. And so the biggest thing for me was to just do it, was just to say, all right, this is what I'm doing, accept the job offer, and then figure it out from there. Because once I had like made that commitment to be in this position for the time period I was, like we kind of can't really back down from that without getting a bad reputation and like a career, which I'm just starting my career, so can't really do that. So it was just kind of like jump in full, like feet first and just go for it. Otherwise, I overthink everything, and I probably would have talked myself out of it, as I had many of other times, like talked myself out of different like applications, even just because they weren't in the same state and they weren't in like different things in my life throughout ever. I just sort of talk myself down from them just because they are scary. They are inconvenient. They aren't where I think I'm going to be or what I thought I would be doing. But I've learned over like the past 4 or 5 months just to jump feet first into it and just go for it. And that's even with all my anxiety, like once I've made the commitments to something, like can't back down. Like I can be anxious about that, but at least I've already committed and I have to do it.
Yeah, then you're like, okay, I'm stuck with this decision.
Yeah. It's like, I know it's going to be a good decision, but like now I'm super anxious about everything in my life, but it's fine. It's working out.
It always works out in the end, one way or another. So
yeah, I think that's good. Just to you put yourself in that situation. You're like, I'm not able to back down now. Now I got to deal with it. I think that's a good way. I found that too in my own personal life, dealing with anxiety. It's just sometimes you just got to do it and then know that it'll be okay and let the pieces fall where they may.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I do want to talk, because you do have a very interesting perspective of, just getting out of college. Did you graduated? Was it?
Yeah,
2017.
I mean, I was done with school. My actual graduation date was August of 2017, but I was done with school in June of 2017.
Yeah. So you're just recently out of college. How does it compare, living the college life versus real adulting life? Because I feel like I can't even remember college now. It hasn't even been that long, but what?
It's been a while already. It's been
6 years, 7 years.
It's been over 7 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a crazy. Long time. Yeah. But that's an interesting perspective that you have, just getting out of college. What is that like?
There's definitely parts of college I miss. Like, I know everyone's always like, it's going to be different. Like, you'll have to make new friends. Cause like, it's definitely weird not being able to just text someone and be like, hey, you want to meet up? You want to go get wings? You want to go do something? And being like 5 minutes away from all of your friends. Now I'm an average of 4.5 hours from all my friends. And it's definitely, I miss like being close to my friends, just not having a ton of responsibility. I mean, I worked in college, and by the end of it, I had 2 jobs in school and just a bunch of stuff. But I mean, it was like a different kind of stress almost. Now it's like a stress of, oh goodness, am I going to be able to pay my bills this month? Am I going to, my dog just cost me
Mhm.
$500. Like, how do I supplement that money? And like, got a second job, so that's always good. But it's just different. Oh,
Wait, what happened? What was the
oh,
$500
so
for?
she, when I
Uh,
adopted her, she had Lyme's disease, and so she's having some complications along with allergies, but her complications from Lyme's disease is making her allergies worse. So I had to take her to the vet. And then while I was inside Costco, we were getting ready to head to Pennsylvania to visit family. And I had made brownies the day before, and I double ziplocked the brownies, put them in a book bag, and hid them under 2 other bags. And she's a hound dog, so when I was inside the store getting her medicine, she ate half of the brownies. And
Oh
Oh,
no.
we
It's
had to make a
crazy.
detour and leave the next day because we had to go spend the evening at the emergency vet.
Oh no.
And so
oh.
my dog is a mess is the moral of that. But anyone who knows me keeps saying she's the perfect dog for me then, so it's fine. But so I guess there's just the biggest thing coming right out of college was like there's different stressors now. It's not, oh, am I going to get a good grade on this paper? It's like, oh, am I going to do my job right, or am I going to get in trouble? Like that type, different stressors, and just sort of that learning curve of adulting, I guess, like paying my own bills and making sure rent's in on time, the whole car insurance, registering my car, doing all that fun stuff came a lot sooner than I thought. And I don't know, it's
hmm
just different stresses than just worrying about grades. That seems
Yeah, and it's
so,
all stuff you don't learn about either.
yeah,
It's like,
Nope.
yeah,
how do I pick car insurance? Like, I don't
They don't
know.
teach you that. No,
no.
nowhere.
It's like,
You just gotta learn it.
yeah, yeah. So just learning like the real world stuff of you're not in that bubble of being in college anymore. You're actually, I'm out doing the things everyone talks about and I've heard about forever, but I haven't had to handle it. My dad would handle all the car stuff, or my parents would handle health
Yep.
insurance. And now it's like, I have to be the one doing all that. And so that hits hard sometimes because it's not stuff I still want to be like a kid and be like, hey mom, can you just call the health insurance and figure this out? And she's like, nope, you can sit on hold with them for an hour and a half.
Yeah. You're like,
I
no.
don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah,
It is so
adulting
much
is
easier
hard.
just to be a
Yeah,
kid
It's
sometimes.
true.
certain things for sure.
It's not as much fun,
No,
No.
I think. I like being an adult.
Yeah.
But
I would choose
I also
to
don't
be an
like
adult.
adulting either.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough.
so yeah.
So, Bri, what are some of your long-term goals, either, professionally or personally, or, if there's certain places you want to travel to? What have you been? I know you just did this big change, but, have you been thinking further down the road, or are you just kind of thinking of, the next couple months or?
Yeah. I mean, I've already had to start thinking a little bit down the road because my position is only there until November or like late November. But
Okay.
so I mean, I've already started looking back into different jobs, and for the time being, wow, I enjoy the work that I am doing, and I would like to eventually be back in a role where I can do more impactful stuff and give um, like supply people access to fresh fruits and vegetables who don't have the means or stuff like that. But for the time being,
Yeah.
I would like to continue in the general area that I am of just bringing that access of locally grown foods and locally produced foods back to the community that they're coming from, which is what the nonprofit I work for does as a whole. Like the main income supply is from bringing in locally grown foods across Virginia into their warehouse, and then we send them out pretty soon after, like usually like the day after we get it in, back out to other areas around Virginia, usually locally in Charlottesville, and the furthest we deliver is up to DC, but it's all from like local areas, and we're helping out the local farmers. And I'm really passionate about that. And so I'd love to find a job that continues working with that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Or,
Yeah,
I could just
definitely.
win the lotto and just go travel the world. That would also be perfectly fine with me, either way.
Great goal.
Yes.
Totally
That would be
attainable, right?
amazing. Yeah, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Just do
do
it. You got it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's great. That is a really cool nonprofit that you're working for, because it's something that, people don't really think about a lot of times. I mean, sometimes I feel like, Jordan and I don't have the means to buy produce, but it is like,
It's very expensive in some places. Yeah.
You don't even think about, even, lower income and how important it is to have those foods, but then how they are the most difficult to attain. So that's really a very cool nonprofit you're working for, and definitely a great goal to keep working towards in the future. Very cool. So this is Jordan's favorite question to ask. So I'll let him ask it.
Yeah. Okay, Bri. What is one secret to a weird yet amazing life?
Oh, goodness.
Go.
I guess, I don't know if it's really weird, but you just kind of have to embrace the craziness of life. Like, yeah.
I love it. Embrace the crazy.
Like, embrace the twists and turns and the weirdness that's going to get thrown at you. Otherwise, it makes life kind of boring if you don't, I guess.
That's why I like this question, because that's great. Embracing crazy like that. That's what this whole series of, the series in The Power of Change or whatever we're calling it. I think it's great because of that reason.
Yeah. I mean, life is crazy, and, you can't avoid change. And I mean, some people, go head first into change, try to get change. Some people fight it, but yeah, no matter what, like, it's change and craziness is going to get you.
If I've learned anything over the past year, it's you never know what's going to happen even tomorrow. So why fight the random events of your life and not embrace every moment as much as you can, even if it's a totally strange thing you would never do in your life? Why not just embrace it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have anything else to add, Jordan?
Nope.
Okay. You had that.
I got to ask my question, so.
Okay. But thank you so much, Bri, for being willing to talk to us about change. You are the poster child for change. So we appreciate you being willing to talk with us and have our listeners hear your advice. And it's been a great podcast, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Freedom Casters, thanks for listening to this episode with Bri on the power of change. That concludes our series on the power of change. If you would, please go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Jordan and Miranda Ring, and like our page. Again, that's facebook.com/Jordan and Miranda Ring. We have all of our updates on there on leaving normal behind, and we will be happy to interact with you and get your comments there. So thank you for that. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day and stay toasty, friend.